So you saw me build this one earlier, and now I'm going to do the rear, and we're going to see how that goes.
Are you busy?
So someone here, sorry, there's someone. Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Are you busy?
Yeah, I'm pretty busy. Yeah, we're making an instructional movie for our YouTube subscriber.
Okay, can I come in, or are you really?
Yeah, you come in. Yeah.
Well, I'm David van Eerd. So
You're David van Eerd?
yeah, I heard you were building wheels for me, so I thought I'd pop
It's
in.
David.
Hey guys.
Let's see how that goes. So,
Sorry.
yeah.
Are you busy?
Okay.
Cut to pop in and see what you're doing.
It's David van Eerd.
Hey guys.
David van Eerd has come to the speed shed.
Yeah,
Hey David, how you doing?
Yeah, you didn't expect me here, I guess.
I wasn't expecting you, but yeah, I kind of was expecting you. Okay, David's turned up and we're going to get him to make his own wheels. That's cool, eh? Alright, cut.
Hey guys.
We were mucking about with Michelle in Milan, right? And she did the thing for us, you know. I'm Michelle and I want you to spin on these. Cut! And I thought it was really cool, you know, really funny, her accent, you know.
Yeah, but do you know what cut means in Dutch?
It means cut, right?
No, it kind of means fuck.
Oh! Hey, so do you only ride fixed gear bikes then, or what?
No, I do ride on the road. Because I'm originally a roadie. I do half of my training on the fixed gear and half on the road.
Yeah.
It's still good fun and good training to ride a road bike as well.
If you were only riding the road, David, right, would you still use a fixed bike to train on?
Now that I know what fixed gear racing is like and riding fixed, I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot of fun and good training, but I don't think a lot of my road friends would do it.
No. It's very interesting because here in England, right, classic winter training technique for people my age and older was in the winter, your winter bike was a fixed gear bike.
Yeah.
It wasn't a winter bike with 25 million gears, it was a fixed.
Yeah, it was the same in the
That was the
Netherlands.
classic training bike, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the same in Europe as well,
Yeah.
or in mainland Europe, where
Yeah.
like pros in the 50s and 60s
Yeah.
would also ride the fixed gear
Yeah.
bike on the road in the winter. And now people go and say this fixie sport is like a new hipster thing, but
That's
it's
right.
actually not.
Of course.
It's as old as...
Well, you know, but I think, you know, like events like Red Hook Crit and Nocturne, they've made it rock and roll though, right, haven't they?
Yeah.
And that's what's so refreshing to an old fart like me, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
You know,
it speaks to a
But
big one.
it's exciting. I mean, what I love about fixed gear racing, right, is that I'm an old git and I like, you know, my favourite types of road races from way back are spring classics, right? You know, Tour of Flanders, you know, Paris-Roubaix. But those races, they take 8 hours to watch, you know, or whatever. And more often than not, they're boring as hell. I can only think of a few editions of like Flanders that I can remember what happened because they were the epic rides with the bad weather. But who's got 8 hours on a Sunday to sit and watch Eurosport? But you go to a fixed crit like Red Hook Crit or London Nocturne or whatever, you know, or NL Crit Series, and these things are hard and fast. They're over in 40-50 minutes, 1 hour, and they're just non-stop action. Yeah. And hey, this is the really cool thing. All these guys aren't so, I can't think of the right word, like roadies are, right? That they won't have a beer with you afterwards. It's great, and it's so accessible. So if you're looking to reignite your enthusiasm for bike racing, you've got to check out the fixed gear scene because it has refreshed my enthusiasm for bike racing.
I've been riding on the road for 10 years racing, and I think fixed gear like revived the passion for cycling because I got kind of bored with doing the same races every year and just spice things up to ride.
And I think another really cool thing about fixed racing is for those of you that don't have, you know, that have a life, right, have families, have kids, have jobs, you know, you can go and race fixed gear on a lot less training than I think you can on the road because the races are short and fast, you know, so you can tailor your training to be, you know, explosive and not worry so much about the endurance side of things, you know, so and so you can still have a beer or two, you know, or even smoke fags as many of the riders do.
Yeah, well, I think that's a step too far. But
It is. I mean, I don't smoke,
for
so
me,
I don't condone that, you know, or discourage it. I'm neutral on it. But for me, that's one of the really cool things about it. You know, the
you
riders.
don't have to be so strict.
You don't have to be so strict. You can have a beer and you can have a laugh. And I think that's the other great thing as well that I've found from the few fixed gear events that we've been involved with and the riders we work with, is that they're all fun. These guys and girls, they're all got a sense of humour. They're there to have fun. I mean, like Red Hook Crit Milan is like a bike party. It's like a party with some racing going on. And maybe it doesn't feel like that to you because you're racing. You're racing. He's racing for the win, right?
So the after party.
Yeah. Well, we'd already left by the after party. We had to get back to school for Atom there, who's behind the camera. But even the atmosphere in the rider village, you know, before the heats and stuff like that, it's still really good fun. You know, I remember back in the day when I was doing road teams. And, you know, if I tried to speak to any of the riders on our teams when they were on the rollers warming up, you know, they would just ignore me completely. You know, they were just so serious. And they weren't even that much good. So listen, David, this is a two cross disc wheel for your gravel bike, okay? Yeah. And so, you know, I did some of the difficult bits for you, but I left you this spoke out to lace up. So where do you think that one goes?
Well, if it's two cross, then it goes over through the two spokes.
Yeah.
And it probably goes in.
And it goes there. So basically we have to push that through there.
Yeah.
And then around this one here, and then into here, all the way through, and then just give it 4 or 5 turns clockwise, okay?
4, 5.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we need. I'll give you one more for luck, okay? And that just holds that in place.
This looks like a real pro.
It is.
Building
yeah, it's the main thing about this is that there's two main things about this. One is it's very accurate and it measures in 0.05 of 1 millimeter increments. And there's like a white mark
in the jig.
on this bit here. That's what I'm using just to line up. Okay, if you didn't see it, don't worry. On that on the bottom, that's my reference. I got another one on this side. Okay, what that does, the white mark, is that means every time we take this in and out of the rig, we put it back in exactly the same way, and that way we know that there's no influence from the axle to what we're reading here. Okay, we talked about that in part 1 about the eccentricity of the axle. Okay, most people don't bother about that. All right, let's go. Let's start.
Yeah.
So starting here, I'm just going to wind on 8 and then 8 turns. I count in 8, right? You might have a better number, but it's got to be an even number. It could be 4, 2, 8, 10, whatever. But 8 works really well, and I just go, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're just half turns. Okay?
Half turns. So
and
8
then
half turns.
And then another 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then go straight to that one. Don't let go of these 2, then you know where you are. Put that on there, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So you do twice.
So always,
twice
I'm doing
8.
So basically 16. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're going to need to do more, but that doesn't introduce any stress anywhere. If you try to wind up more than that, then you start not being able to wind as much on the other side of the wheel.
Okay, wheel building is an art, and I'm not an artist, but we're gonna get there.
I always find, David, you make a better wheel if you got a nice drink to go. So, you want a beer or coffee?
Coffee sounds
coffee?
good.
Okay,
everything goes better with coffee.
I say our coffee's all right, but it's not fixed gear coffee, which is, I've got to say, it's the best coffee I've ever had in my whole life, and I mean that. I was blown away.
Brian's coffee.
Yeah, Brian's coffee. If you haven't been there, you've got to go and try it. I couldn't believe there'd be anything special about coffee. Brian's coffee is amazing.
Yeah.
We've only got George Clooney making ours here, okay? I'll go and he's in the kitchen, I'll go and get your coffee.
George Clooney is not Brian Megan's, but
he's not Brian Megan's.
It'll do.
He's not as fast as Brian Megan's, that's for sure.
Okay.
I just got George to make that one for you, David. I hope it's a good one.
That's good.
All right, so
It'll
listen.
keep me focused.
All right, you got that. How are you getting on? Have you managed to go all the way around there?
Yeah, no, not really. I'm not going that fast. But
Right, give it to me. We'll do some speeding up here.
Yeah.
And so you're here.
Yeah.
You sure you haven't done that one yet, though,
No.
right? No, I can tell.
I had some problems with like getting the nipple out of the ring.
Yeah, so you got to squeeze. I don't think you've done either of those, so because I can still feel the thread there. Odd angle, and you see the nipple is lower in the rim as well.
Yeah.
It's almost like this spoke is longer.
Yeah.
It effectively is. It's the same length of spoke, but because of the lacing, it means that this one it needs more tightening. Because of the way that the reel is laced, the nipple, when it's only got a few turns on it, is very deep in the rim, so you need to squeeze it together so that you can get a nice attachment with your screw there, or with your wrench I should say. So we're going to do... Listen, we forgot a really important step before we started. It's a cardinal sin, okay? But it's not too late, okay? We forgot to do this. Because I left the wheel for David to finish, what we forgot was one thing, but it's good because we can illustrate the problem now. So, about the nipples, you know, about those ones that are in deeper than the other ones, it's because some of the spokes are coming out board and some of the spokes are going in.
Yeah.
So the ones that are going in have a much easier path to the rim than the ones that come out, or the other way around. You know, I'm kind of confusing myself now. Yeah. But what's important to do
bend them a little.
we should bend them, exactly. See, this guy, he knows,
I've
he
done
knows
that
his stuff.
before.
It goes, so the first thing we should do is we should give these a really nice bend. Really force them down. Those ones that come out, we're going to help them on their path to the rim, okay, by just brute force. You can see it even more on this side because we've got a different kind of spoke we've used here. We've used our elliptical bladed aero spoke here, so you can see the bend is much more pronounced.
What kind of spokes do you use?
So we make all the spokes here because we've got so many different build variations, so many different rim depths, things like that.
So you cut them to
much
length
easier
yourself
to cut them to and thread it and cut
Yeah.
it. And in fact, I'll let you have a go at that because it's a nice thing to do. It's a nice, satisfying thing to do. It looks much nicer now already. But what it's done is it's made it looser because we've eased the path from the hub to the rim. So this is what we should have done first of all, but we didn't. So it's a good job we put those white marks in because you see I had to take this out now. And now we're going to remember. Well, not that we've measured anything yet. So that's white mark down, white mark down. Okay, so what do you think, David? Is that good enough for you or not?
It's still a bit wobbly, I think.
You think that's not stiff enough?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, well, you know, I tend to make wheels very stiff, regardless of the rider weight, but you don't strike me as being very heavy, David.
No, I do get it sometimes a little bit heavier over the winter, so it's good to be able to ride these gravel wheels.
I get heavier all year round, yeah. So what are you planning to do with these wheels?
I want to ride some cross races maybe, and in general gravel riding. Gravel riding has got more popular, I think, and I haven't really tried it that much yet.
It's great. It's my favourite kind of riding. We don't have any gravel trails around here, so we go off in search of them every summer. And I must say, you know, riding on roads in the mountains on gravel, just the sound of it is wonderful. And the fact that you've got no cars around and you're in the middle of the country, it's just amazing. Like, you know, it's just a shame that there are. Do you have a lot of gravel trails where you are?
Not that much. We have one nice area in the east of the Netherlands where you can do some gravel riding, and I went there in the summer, and I really enjoyed it. So I was thinking I need a good gravel bike, good gravel wheel set, and then I can properly enjoy it.
Definitely. I lost count now, so these are going to be terrible, these wheels. You're going to have to correct all that yourself. This bit is quite interesting. Okay, well, when I say quite interesting, if you're interested in bloody wheel building, it's interesting. So it's starting to get, so the tension is getting up to the kind of level that we want now, okay? And now it starts to get a little bit tighter, and then the spoke starts to twist. So with these bladed spokes, it's quite easy to hold the twist and to observe it, because you can see the twist very apparent from how the blade does, but on a round spoke it's tricky, so you have to hold the spoke and feel it with your fingertips to know that you're not twisting it.
And if you are, do you use a tool to hold that spoke straight?
So yeah, for a bladed spoke you can use a tool like this, which is just something like that, but you don't need it at this stage. You need it later when it's really high tension, so we're going to use that later. But for the round spoke, you know, a spoke like this is just a really stiff spoke, and I could explain more about why I use that spoke on the non-drive side. You can just, you know, that doesn't twist as much as a thin, light spoke does. But if it's a round, super light, butted spoke like I used on your dad's wheels, that you really need to grip it hard to stop it from just twisting. And if you leave that twist in your wheels, when you go and ride it, it's gonna untwist itself. And how does it do that? It unscrews itself from the nipple, and you end up with the spoke falling out of your wheels. So apologies to all our customers if that's ever happened to. It's happened to 1 or 2 of our customers.
Because that's what I got with the shitty wheels I once built myself. that I went riding the first time and I went bling, bling,
Bling, bling. That's your spokes unscrewing themselves. That's telltale sign of ping, 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 ping. That's your spoke, literally.
Yeah.
As they come off load, they're just ding, ding, and they're just untwisting themselves, and they're literally unscrewing from the nipple.
Yeah,
and
I remember that sound.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was quite a funny sound, but the wheel wasn't that stiff anymore.
No, exactly. So the mark of a well-built wheel is you go ride it for the first time, and it doesn't make those sounds. Maybe once or twice. And I'm going to show you how we ensure that in this build. This is maybe one of the things that if you build 1 or 2 wheels in your life you don't really know about and you don't really appreciate. But it's one of the key things that differentiate great wheels from, you know, ordinary wheels. What's that?
Great wheels from, you know, Zips.
Oh yeah. Well, Zip. I'm sure Zip know how to make their wheels. I'm sure they do. I mean, no one knows who actually makes Zip wheels, but you know, I'm sure the people that make them for real, I'm sure they kind of know what they're doing, right? But yeah, it's pretty important to do that. So as I've lost count now, because David keeps going on about his gravel bike, I've lost count, so we're going to have to just play this one by ear. And I mean literally, we're going to play the wheel, and we're going to listen to the song it sings, and then we'll know where we are. But anyway, we should have a good basis now for this being quite tight. Let's just see how awful or how good it is. It's got a bit of a wobble, huh? That's all David's fault, okay?
Try spin it again, I can't really see.
If you remember back to the first part of this video, when I made David's front wheel, and I did that by ear, it was within, I think, what was it, a millimetre? It was within a millimetre of trueness.
Already when
just from building it with no gauges and just by ear, I think it was within a millimetre. But I was concentrating then, although I was filming it and talking to the camera. But now we've been mucking about, I've been mucking about, we've been talking to you, because it's more interesting to talk to you than talk about this wheel. So, guessing that this is pretty much the pinnacle of your bike life so far, isn't it, David? Coming here and seeing your wheel being made.
Seeing this shed.
No, seriously, what's been? Let me wind back. How did you get started with bikes, and when?
It was about 15 years ago already, I think.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 28.
28.
So I was 13 back then, and I started just riding with my dad.
Yeah.
Around the Netherlands, did some like cyclo events, but not any racing. And then started getting into it. Started getting a race license as a junior, and then kept racing. Yeah. I'm going to just tell David. Okay, this is the spoke machine, David. It's very gentle, because it's so precise, okay? And also it's very oily as well. I don't want you ruining your lovely top. You can see there's oil everywhere, and it's dripping with. Look, you have a look. It's all dripping with. Well, it's machine oil. Yeah, well, it is. It's a good old hunk of metal, isn't it? Yeah.
So basically, if I just show you really quickly, so let me take a spoke blank like that. So it's already got the elbow on it, but it's basically just a really long spoke.
And it hasn't got any thread.
It has got a thread on it. So I started with a thread. Okay, just because it's easier that way.
Because so these are all the same length.
These are all the same length, okay, and these are just the round ones, okay, and I'll show you the bladed ones later. But so these are the round blanks, and they're 300mm long, and no wheels we make are 300mm spokes basically. So this was a spoke that I needed to cut for your wheel, for your rear wheel, at 266. And so what we do is we put that in here, and it's a manual machine. And what it does is it cuts the spoke. Mind your hand there, because I don't want to cut your fingers off. So that's just cut the spoke to exactly the length, and then you just crank this, and that's just threaded it. And if you feel that straight away, you find it's really hot. Because the way the thread is formed, the temperature goes almost immediately. But the way the thread is formed is it's not cut, it's rolled. So there's no metal. There's no metal gone missing. So it hasn't shaved any metal off. It's just literally rolled the thread. So now that is a 266. So millimetre spoke.
Cuts and threads them at the same time.
So we can check that on my little ruler here. There you go. So then we just made a 266mm spoke for David's rear wheel. Okay, and it's kept at the back, because if you push it that way, you're going to get the wrong length. So you put your thumb on that, and then you crank this handle in this direction.
Okay. And don't touch this bit.
Don't touch it, and don't put your finger in it. Go on. You'll feel some resistance. Keep going. Okay, and keep going. Just go one movement. That's it, and then let go.
I can let this go.
Yeah, you let go, and keep just wind it, and it will fall out the back. Okay, that's it. You just made your first spoke.
Wow, that's sick.
Mind, you might burn yourself on the end there. Do you feel it or not?
It's a little hot.
Yeah. if you touch it straight away, you can really feel it. It's like, oh, you know. So David has just made his first spoke. You know what you can do with that? Keep it as a spare.
Spare, that's good.
For when you break the wheels we're making today.
Yeah.
So
measured as well, right?
Yeah, I don't measure all of them, right? Yeah. I always when I set the length here, I always measure the first one.
Yeah.
If I'm doing a big batch of spokes, which sometimes I make hundreds of spokes in one go, then you have to check every 20 or 30 spokes to make sure you haven't moved anything.
Yeah.
You know,
but
so
since it's my first spoke, it's probably good to check it, right?
Yeah.
So it's was supposed to be
266.
Yeah, it's exactly 266.
And I have the magnifying glass handy here in case you really want to check it accurately.
All right.
You know?
All right, let's do that. Yeah, it looks spot on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Were you looking for a job, David, or not?
Not yet.
Okay. So, yeah, I have to use this because. But
I'll keep it in mind to maybe become your designated spoke cutter.
The real important structure of the rim is here, where the nipple and the tension is held. And I don't know if you can see that. And here, this is a really old rim, by the way. It's a really narrow one, as you can see. It's not like these now, right? So, but the point is that the principle of how I make this is much the same. The very, very thin sidewall. Even though it's very thin, it's still very stiff. You can feel you can't really
flex it very much.
You know, and if you look at some wheels, some wheels that chase super lightweight, you'll find that the sidewall you can flex so much you can get it in here. So that's the bit where I'm not saving weight that I could be, because I want that to be stiff. But structurally, it's not that important. So if you drill a hole here under the rim bed and here, it just makes it a bit lighter. It's not going to break the wheel. So Francis rode on for the rest of his American trip, and in fact he just did an 8-day gravel tour in South Africa on the same wheel. He calls it his holy wheel. There's got a big hole in it, but it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. It doesn't look great, but it's fine. I'm Michelle, and I want you to spin on these. Good. And I thought it was really cool. Really funny her accent. Yeah,
but do you know what "kut" means in Dutch?
It means cut, right?
No, it kind of means fuck.
Oh, so Michelle, we thought we were taking the piss with Michelle, but she was taking the piss out of us. We like you even more now. Okay. Good. So the next thing, David, we do is we put on these rubber gloves. Now, don't panic.